You ready to have some fun? Let's do it.
And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it.
He's losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.
It's Pops, and dear, oh dear, Lord, oh Lord, this could be a long one. This show is like the bane of my existence at this point. It's making me. I actually didn't even watch this on Tuesday. I kind of like had to make myself watch it ahead of doing this video. I've tuned everybody else out, but I know that I've seen things popping up in my feed, so I'm like, I gotta get my review recorded so we can be done with this because. Guys, look at the recap on screen. This whole sparkler lightsaber thing that the Disney Star Wars does now just irritates me to no end. I don't feel like they understand or care about much of anything in their canon, including Dave Filoni's own character Ahsoka. I don't know that he cares. I have no idea what he's doing.
Oh god, this is gonna be bad.
So we have a brief recap of how bad things are. I don't know. I noticed that there were 5 X-Wings and then 2 don't make it out. But so we basically just have our recap of where everybody is. None of that stuff matters except for this. Because they jump to warp speed, and then there's 2 ships that crash into each other, and then there's the Ahsoka goes over the cliff and sees Anakin. Okay? Credits. Then we're in the weird Red Forest. We basically just we have literally like this whole long drawn out time because Hera has finally made it with her X-wings to the planet surface. Of course, Ahsoka's not there. She doesn't know where Sabine is. She doesn't know anything. She sort of just kind of wanders around with her blaster. I'm assuming they have chopper running scans. That's not really talked about as far as I remember. And it's just, she brought her son, which is like this stupid, horrible concept. Like, is it safe to come out, Mom? It wasn't safe to bring him on the mission.
Do whatever you want all the time.
It was. And by the way, let's go back because there is a moment in the recap where they definitely touch on it briefly of when, let's see here. Yeah, that's the blasting. Let's see if it's right after that. So this is the jumping to light speed thing, hyperspace thing that the thing does. There's Miyagi pilot. He's a lot in this episode. So they jump to their place, and you have the 2 X-wings that plow into each other. Everyone else appears to be fine. And then I don't think I mentioned this last week. Maybe I think I mentioned it only in the sense it was like a cringe callback to Han Solo. So that happens. And then the kid says, I have a bad feeling about this. Now, I want to point this out because we're going to get to Jedi sensitivity in this episode. The kid's dad is a Jedi, so therefore he's supposed to be sensitive. Well, he sure didn't get a bad feeling about it until actually bad something happened. It's just nothing about this show. Everything about this show treats you like you're stupid.
No, see, he's not smart. People think he's smart, but he's not.
So she wanders around about 25 feet, looks in a couple different directions and says, all right, don't go far. And then we see that the extremely irritating droid Huang is there with Sabine's helmet. And he's got this, I told them not to separate. They do so much, but why don't they listen to me kind of thing. And oh my gosh, this character could be interesting. Here's my thing. This is the perfect scenario for like that C-3PO presence. It is sort of like grounded. It is always about programming and facts and logic. Instead, Huang is never consistent. He'll be facts and logic, and then he'll be emotional. And you're like, I don't understand what the droid's supposed to be doing. Like, I don't get his dynamic. It's just not right. So there's just some brief talk about all that. And then we kind of cut over to what's called Shadow Warrior. Then we cut over to this. I know this may not be the popular opinion. I don't know. I actually liked Hayden Christensen in this and him showing up. It's clear that he has played Anakin for so long. He can kind of like jump right in, and it feels real. It feels grounded. It feels he knows how to use a lightsaber. He has sort of like the Vader presence about him. Like you believe all of that. Okay. And with Rosario Dawson, you still don't feel like see, there you go. She's immediately in her cantaloupe pose. Like she's got the stoic look, the stoic cardboard lines, folds her arms. I'm missing why that is the direction of the character they want to go. I really am. I could care less about this world between or world within worlds thing that I guess that's where we are. It's never ever clearly defined, even in this episode.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
So this just goes on before they start fighting. And it becomes some sort of like you need to decide if you want to live or die thing is pretty much what's going to be happening. And then the boy just sits and stares at the water. And then he hears something. There's something out there.
Somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight.
Now, Miyagi-Do shows up and he's just got the yeah, we need to check in with headquarters before we get in trouble. We don't want to get in trouble, do we? We got to check in with headquarters. And she does the girl boss. I'm a general. I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. So they can just have static. So just, and it's just, we just waste so much screen time. Oh, okay. This was so irritating. Okay. So he's presumably force sensitive because dad's a Jedi. And we did have this setup during Sabine's training that if you just close your eyes, if you just focus, everyone can be a little bit force sensitive. Like this makes no sense whatsoever. Maybe there's something about Hera and that's what brought the two of them together and they made Jason, but Jason's supposed to be force sensitive. Dad's force sensitive. I didn't think Hera was, and it's just dumb. And the idea of him not being trained or not being sort of like encouraged to understand like and discern he hears or feels lightsaber, because he talks about hearing things, not feeling things. It's not feeling of the force, it's hearing lightsabers. So I'm like, well, yeah, they're giant sparklers in the water, so yeah, that's what you're hearing. So anyway, we cut right back and then suddenly we're in, I guess, and this is the thing. Again, getting ahead of myself with this because it's never really explained what is actually happening. I'm not quite sure why we're in flashbacks in her memory. We're not in heaven or hell. We're not in some sort of Jedi purgatory. We're just sort of like going through the motions in this sort of reliving some experiences in a way to help you decide if you want to live or die. That's the gist of this. This is the coolest part. In my opinion, I enjoyed seeing the younger Ahsoka. The girl actually, I thought, did a really good job of at least conveying emotions. She did seem like a little bit of a fish out of water in some of the sequences, because there's a couple different sequences. But I really enjoyed the Clone War action and the look of it all, the feel of it all. Now, again, his de-aging CGI is notwithstanding. Obviously, seeing Captain Rex in action, hearing his voice, that's pretty cool. I'm down with all that. Just kind of being immersed a little bit in like Clone Wars type action. Yeah, all of that kind of works for me. I really enjoyed all that. Almost to a fault. Like I almost want more of that. It was interesting because she sort of like is going through the emotion of grief, like losing clones and the casualty of war. And I'm like, well, his speech is never about be careful about your feelings. It seemed like the perfect time for him to echo his teachings of Obi-Wan, which came from Yoda about, love and, leading to loss and suffering and anger and hate, and it's the perfect time to go through those type of lessons, and it just didn't happen. And I feel like either this seemed like this would have been a lesson like maybe she didn't actually get that she should have gotten, and now she's getting it in her mind or some sort of whatever's supposed to actually be happening. Yeah, again, the de-aging. I actually like the costuming. I like the set. I like the action. Like I said, I don't mind the girl. I thought she did fine. Because some of these scenes are really, really cool. Now she has this weird sort of like vision and sort of like hallucination of him as Vader as well. Which, by the way, I love the fact that the tanks are there, but they're sort of like in the smoke and the debris. They're not really clear. I thought it was really good. Well, we cut back. So we're gonna waste some more time in the search. Tell the X-wings to get closer to the water. Jason's trying to feel. Everyone gets closer to the water. There's back and forth with Huang and Hera, and we're just wasting time before we have another cutscene. This one I think is this Mando one? Yeah. Yeah, this one was pretty good as well. We see her fight. And I will admit, I think that she's at times, well, I'm not, see, she still isn't holding the one lightsaber backwards. Like, I still thought that was like a huge thing in the cartoons that I've seen, is that she was one of the ones that would hold one forward and one back. And she was so good at doing all of that. It made it very athletic, very acrobatic, very much obviously a disciple of Anakin's teaching. Well, here we go. We go right into, brooding cantaloupe. I just hate this motif that they're sticking on this character. Like, even if this is supposed to be part of her history, this is such an off-putting way to build your show around the character. Like, there's nothing remotely likable about it. The character that keeps doing this. This is weird because Anakin, who at this point we're sort of like, okay, we're not really sure what we're doing, because now he's like a chaperone because he wasn't part of this battle. And it kind of proceeds, and then he sort of like, then they create conflict, they start fighting, and now we're here. They still never really let Rosario Dawson emote. She's so flat. She's very uninteresting. And by the way, the editing. Let me go way back. I think it is back here. Yeah. Okay. So they cut away from the action. And I want to point out something with why this is so bad. The pacing is just terrible. Filoni is an awful director when it comes to pacing. So the edit should be when Anakin appears to have the upper hand, and he's leaning in, and the close-up is of the lightsabers getting close to her face. She's at risk. We know she's not at risk, but she's at risk, and that's when you do the cutaway. That's not how they do it. So they're just fighting from afar, and this is it. See, nothing is really ever at risk. It's just sort of back and forth. She still seems clunky, and she's only using one lightsaber. She's not protecting her backside, and slow compared. I mean, listen, Hayden Christensen's really got it going on. He's very believable. See how they cut? They cut with Anakin, like his hands up here, but there's no threat. There's no immediate threat to cut and make you hang on. Oh crap, she could get hurt. Yeah, it's awful. Show is awful. Okay, so we have that. We have the fight. I like the fact that he is evolving into the Vader, into this message, and you feel like that's what's supposed to be happening, is some sort of dream sequence about, do you want to live or die? And she sort of like just wakes up in the water, and she's sort of found. And again, we don't have a great explanation or understanding of what actually is going on. And I have no idea why that is sort of like this big moral conundrum for this character. She's never given me any sense that she doesn't have purpose or life. She seems very content and happy existing in the universe as this sort of like, quote, former Jedi Knight, even though she never really was, but this former Jedi, whatever. Jason and Chopper watching, and then she gets going on the ship. She wakes up after sleeping for a day, and we have more talk with Huang. And I hated all of this. Okay, so they have no idea where Sabine went. I mean, they understand conceptually, they have followed some sort of map through the hyperspace, and they know that that's happened, right? Okay, now suddenly, and maybe I am more than willing to totally admit I'm not a Rebels and Clone Wars scholar. I didn't know we left feelings and scenes that can be replayed on the objects, because that's what she does. She sort of like replays the moments to figure out where they went. And she does it with this sort of like, I really should have taken my medicine this morning look on her face. It's just, it's terrible. Go see the starship. We're going to talk. And and by the way, what is happening with the Jedi robe thing? The Jedi robe thing is gone. And now we're just wearing cloaks like this that are like, they're not easy to take off. She'll fight with them on. It looks ridiculous on her. Are we supposed to just see an outfit change and now she's wearing light colored clothes? Was that supposed to be what we're supposed to take away from this situation? Because I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling much of any of this. So, all right. The element of the story that they have sort of like crammed this story in is that Mon Mothma is like, there's nothing else I can do. You're in big trouble because you left with X-Wings to go do something. I don't even know. By the way, it was never really addressed whatever else they wanted her to do instead. Did she have some other purpose that she was supposed to be doing instead? And Hera is, again, there's this back and forth, right? And, there's Miyagi-Do. And so they're sending the fleet and they're running out of time, right? Can't cover for her anymore. There's still no conversation of, we have hologram proof of these force sensitive creatures that broke out the criminal that Ahsoka brought in. We know there was a hyperdrive that was stolen that I put a tracker on. That's how we knew where to go. It seems like none of that information is conveyed to management. The bosses don't know what's going on. Hera's terrible. So, and by the way, again, I wanted to come back to this because there's 3 X-Wings there. In one of the scenes, I don't think they had the right number of X-Wings. All right, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to rewind and find it. It's just one of those things that I may have missed. I may have wrong. Oh, okay. We're going to the whales. Okay. So this is the grand idea. Okay. She had force feelings on the orb that Sabine had handed over to Balin. They have the map. They went through the hyperspace because of the whales, right? Space whales, whatever. They were part of the scene back with Thrawn and Ezra and Rebels, and that's how they saved the day, was the whales. Ahsoka's got the grand idea that she is going to go. I know. Look at how bad the CGI is. It is completely brutally bad. And she's going to go and talk to the whales. So the whales are coming around, and there's like a big whale. I don't think they tell us why that whale. He's leader of the whales, or he's the biggest, baddest, oldest whale. He's the Mufasa whale. I don't know what he is, but he's the one who's going to talk to you. And then the fleet shows up. Miyagi-Do is going to try to hold them up. And we have another girl boss. And this guy in this absolutely ridiculous looking alien mask and gloves. Like and again, these look like characters at the Star Tours or Star Trek convention or something. It's absolutely awful. I don't even know what this footrest thing is supposed to be. Like, does she work out and do some legs? She is on leg day. Is she got some leg days going on there? There's no use of space in Star Wars Future, by the way, or whatever. Freaking crap, man. Miyagi-Do has this awkward screen consuming. Well, I have to make this excuse, and they got to find out that she doesn't have a mission. Well, we're going to wait and find out what happens with her mission. I said she doesn't have a mission. I'm going to have to double secret probation you if you don't listen to me. Okay, you're not going to believe what I have to tell you. It's all about the whales. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk to the animals. Yes, Dr. Doolittle them up. And oh God, it's so terrible. And then she convinces Hoang, we're going to just drive the ship right into the whale. I got to get to the right scene because you got to see how on the nose this gets. Yeah. So this is literally like, I guess in Star Wars, this is like Blue Whale with the little fibers and stuff here. Like they're just going to be able to safely go Pinocchio style from another galaxy. So that's how that goes. And they sort of see all of this transpiring with the whales. And you're never quite certain that this guy's, are we in a commercial right now? Is this all these people here to get on the ride? It's so terrible. And you get the impression that this should be yet another reason that Hera is telling the truth. Yet you also get the feeling that, no, because this is what happens with the whales. Are you ready, folks? This is what happened. I watch it so you don't have to. Yeah. Their butts start to glow. Their little squid-like butts start to glow. Are you ready for it? Because it's going to be great. You're going to like it. That's right. Their little butts glow, and then there they go. Butt glow. Does Filoni have stake in showing space whales? Does he get paid by showing all the space whales or the biggest space whale? Is I mean, I assume his finger is in the creation of all these, so it's all about banking money and getting his residuals and things like that. I hate Hera's character, man. I cannot stand her. I think it's just she's incompetent. It's terrible. She brought her kid for no reason. We're doing space whales with Miyagi Do, and just this is such. If you thought episode 4 gave us at least a little bit of action that moved the story along from 3 episodes of setup of all this information the audience knows that they would repeat and talk about, something finally happens, and then we do this episode, which is full of such nonsensical Shiite. I don't even know what to say. It's such garbage. We had a quick moment with Hayden Christensen slinging some lightsabers. It's a vision. It's a hallucination. It's a memory. None of it matters. We had some cool shots of Clone Wars action sequences reenacted with a young version of Ahsoka, which were kind of the best parts. So the best parts of Ahsoka through episode 5 has nothing to do with Ahsoka or Hera or Sabine or the little kid. They have to do, or the robot. No. The best sequences have to do with like Ray Stevenson, Hayden Christensen showing up for a couple minutes, a flashback sequence that doesn't even matter with Clone Wars and in the Clone Wars with clones and Rex and space whales going to hyperspace, my friend. It's not like dust and crops, they say. It's not like dust and crops. Woo! Did not think I would ever have to discuss space whales' butts turning blue as they jump to hyperspace with a ship in its mouth, like Pinocchio style. Yep. Filoni's the one to save Star Wars, folks. By the way, nobody expects to see Thrawn, right? Like we saw that in the tease of the trailer, like that's what we're going to get, right? Everybody knows that. Like none of you are at home expecting more. There might be. I'm not saying there won't, but you're not expecting it, right? You're not going to have your high hopes. Like, please, whatever your expectations are, lower them to that clip that you have already seen. And because they don't care that insults you or makes you mad. Just, I want to make sure we're all on the same page here with our stuff. I'll watch it so you don't have to. You can tune in with me and we can do this again. We'll do it every week till this is over. They wanted to make Andor look better. You know, we didn't have the Spanish Inquisition chair. We didn't have some other no-name characters, but yeah, there we go. Ahsoka episode 5. Woo! Yeah, see, I'm not angry and frustrated. I'm like delirious punch drunk over how bad this is. I'm just like, we've gotten into like hysterical bad now. It's like, this is insanely bad. So there you go, folks. That's my take. Can't wait to hear what everybody will have to say, like Joker and stuff. Raging Rhino, they're going to be amusing. And my God, Lord help me if Az did a whole video. I don't know. Sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. It'll just be on like part of the other shows and stuff. But Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll check in with X-Wing in that circle to see if some of those folks actually like this. I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. It's terrible to me. So, anyway, you guys take care. I am Pops. Later, everybody.